Captain Hanwoo wiped the sweat from his forehead as another massive explosion shook the underground bunker. The lights flickered and dust rained down from the concrete ceiling. Around him, families huddled together, mothers holding their crying babies, fathers clutching makeshift weapons they knew would be useless. "How many are left up there?" asked Dr. Kim Nara, the colony's chief medical officer. She was bandaging a wounded miner who had barely escaped the latest attack. Hanwoo checked his tablet. The numbers made his stomach turn. It'd be 15,000. Still in the outer settlements. The rest. He couldn't finish the sentence. The Vex had been thorough in their destruction. 3 days ago, the massive alien ships had appeared in New Terra's sky like dark clouds. The colonists had watched in wonder at first. They rarely received visitors this far from the main trade routes. Then the ships had opened fire. The Vex commander's message had been simple and terrifying, his voice like grinding metal mixed with hissing steam had echoed across every communication device on the planet. Human worms. You will surrender half your food, half your minerals, half your technology. You have 72 hours. Refuse, and we will take everything, including your lives. Hanwoo had tried to negotiate. As the colony's administrator, he'd dealt with difficult situations before. Supply shortages, equipment failures, even the occasional pirate scout. But the Vex were different. They didn't want to trade or bargain. They wanted to dominate.
Yes, sir.
Called out technician Lee Jong-soo from his position at the communication array. "I'm picking up movement from the Vex ships. They're launching smaller craft toward the southern districts." Through the bunker's periscope, Hanwoo could see the alien assault shuttles descending like metallic locusts. Each one carried a squad of Vex warriors, 6-armed, reptilian nightmares that stood 8 feet tall and could tear through steel with their bare claws. They're not just raiding anymore, Hanwoo realized with growing horror. They're starting the harvest. The Vex didn't just kill their victims. They captured the strongest humans for their slave markets, stripped entire worlds of resources, and left nothing but barren rock behind. Hanwoo had heard the stories from other colonies, entire populations vanishing overnight, their final distress calls cut short by static and screams. "We have to send the signal," Dr. Kim Nara said urgently. "Earth needs to know what's happening here." Hanwoo's hands shook as he activated the emergency beacon. This was humanity's most desperate hour, and they were 47 light-years from home. Even if Earth received the message, help would take weeks to arrive. By then, New Terra would be another dead world. "This is New Terra Colony calling Earth Command." He spoke into the transmitter, fighting to keep his voice steady. "We are under attack by Vex raiders. 12 capital ships, unknown number of ground forces. They're demanding tribute we cannot pay. Colony population, 47,000. Casualties mounting. Time remaining." The bunker shook violently as a plasma blast struck directly overhead. Emergency lights went out, plunging them into darkness for several terrifying seconds before the backup power kicked in. "Please," Hanwoo whispered into the microphone. "If anyone can hear this, ... we need help." Meanwhile, 47 light-years away in the Sol system, something ancient stirred to life. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in bunkers that had been sealed. Since humanity's last great war, automated systems detected the distress signal. Computer banks that had been dormant for 3 decades suddenly blazed with activity. The signal traveled through quantum encrypted channels 2 coordinates that existed on no civilian star charts. In the asteroid belt, where miners thought they were harvesting ordinary rock, massive shapes began to move. These weren't asteroids at all. They were ships, camouflaged and hidden, waiting for the day they would be needed again. The dreadnought Iron Wolf had been sleeping in the shadow of Ceres for 31 years, its hull disguised to look like nothing more than a large asteroid. Now its fusion reactors ignited, and Commander Park Hyun felt the familiar vibration of a warship coming to life. "Status report," he called out as his bridge crew rushed to their stations. These men and women were veterans of humanity's bloodiest conflicts, pulled from retirement when the automated systems detected the colony's distress call. "All systems coming online, sir," reported Lieutenant Kim So-young from the tactical station. "Weapons charging, Shields at full power, receiving similar signals from the entire Ghost Fleet. 47 ships, each one a masterpiece of human military engineering. They had been built during the Terran War, when humanity had faced extinction from the Zephyrian Empire. After that war ended, the ships had been hidden away, their existence known only to the highest levels of Earth's government. Sir Kim Soyoung continued, her voice tight with controlled anger. Long-range sensors confirmed the distress signal. It's the Vex Dominion. They're attacking New Terra. Every person on the bridge knew about the Vex. They were slavers, raiders, and murderers who had terrorized the outer colonies for years. The Galactic Council considered them a minor pirate faction and refused to take action. And his crew had seen the aftermath of Vex attacks, entire settlements turned to ash. Families torn apart, children sold into slavery. How long to New Terra? Park Hyun asked. 18 hours if we push the engines to maximum, replied his navigation officer. Then we push them beyond maximum, Park Hyun said grimly. Signal all ships. Full military protocol. We're going to remind you, the galaxy, why humans are the most dangerous species in known space. As the Ghost Fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace, Park Hyun opened a channel to his fellow commanders. Brothers and sisters, he said, his voice carrying across 47 ships, our people are dying. Our children are being taken. The galaxy thinks we're weak because we choose peace over war. Today we show them their mistake. The Iron Wolf and its sister ships vanished into hyperspace, leaving only empty space where humanity's secret fleet had waited in the shadows. The hunt was about to begin. The silence in space shattered as massive shapes emerged from their hidden graves. What the galaxy had mistaken for dead asteroids suddenly blazed to life, their true forms revealed as humanity's greatest secret weapons. The thunderstrike broke free from its camouflage within Jupiter's great red spot, its hull scarred from battles that had saved Earth decades ago. The blood moon uncloaked from behind Mars, its crimson paint job, earned from the blood of enemies who had underestimated human resolve. Captain Lee Dahain felt the familiar hum of the Crimson Blade's engines beneath her feet. She had commanded this ship during the Zephyrian War, when alien invaders had pushed humanity to the brink of extinction. Now, 30 years later, her old war machine was awakening for another fight. Ma'am, all systems are green, reported Chief Engineer Bae Seung-min from his station. His hands moved across holographic controls with practiced ease, even after decades away from military service. Fusion reactors at 100%. Weapon systems fully charged. Lee Dae-hyun nodded, watching through the viewport as other ships in the Ghost Fleet powered up around them. Each vessel was unique. Some were massive dreadnoughts built to crack enemy battle stations. Others were sleek destroyers designed for hit-and-run tactics. But they all shared one thing. They had been forged in the fires of humanity's darkest hour. The captain called out Communications Officer Park Ji-won. We're receiving authentication codes from all 46 other vessels. The fleet is ready for your orders. Good, Lee Dae-hyun replied. She opened a channel to address her crew. Listen up, everyone. I know most of you thought your fighting days were over. You were raising families, running businesses, living peaceful lives. But today, our people need us again. Through the ship's speakers, her voice carried to every deck. Veterans who had been pulled from retirement just hours ago listened intently, their old instincts already kicking in. The Vex think they can attack our colonies because we've been quiet for 30 years, Lee Dae-hyun continued. A mistake. Our peace for weakness. Today we remind them why humanity survived when other species fell. No. Sergeant Choi Min-ho looked up from his weapons console, a grim smile on his weathered face. He had served with Lee Dae-hyun during the siege of Europa, where they had held off an entire alien fleet with just 3 ships. Ma'am, I'm reading some interesting modifications on the other vessels. Looks like some of our commanders have been busy during retirement. Lee Dae-hyun pulled up the tactical display. The Iron Wolf was indeed showing power readings that exceeded its original specifications. Park Hyun always was creative with his engineering. What else are you seeing? The Shadow Dancer has new stealth systems that don't match any known technology, Choi Min-ho reported. The Starbreaker appears to have upgraded its main cannon by at least 300%. And the Night Hunter. I can barely detect it on sensors even though it's right there. 30 years is a long time, Lee DeHayen mused. Our captains weren't content to let their ships gather dust. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, alien monitoring stations were detecting energy signatures that shouldn't exist. On the Altarian Federation's primary observation post, Ambassador Kethver stared at his screens in growing alarm. "This can't be right," he muttered, his four eyes blinking rapidly as he processed the data. The Altarians had been watching human space for decades, keeping careful records of Earth's military capabilities. According to their files, humanity possessed maybe a dozen outdated patrol ships and some converted civilian vessels. "Sir," his aide Tavara called out urgently, "the energy readings are getting stronger. Whatever the humans are powering up, it's massive." Kethvera's tentacles twitched nervously as he examined the data. Each human ship was generating power levels that rivaled an Altarian battlecruiser. But that was impossible. The humans were traders and explorers, not warriors. "Run a comparison analysis," he ordered. "I want to know exactly what we're looking at." Tavara's claws clicked rapidly across her console. After several minutes, she looked up with fear in her reptilian eyes. "Sir, if these readings are accurate, a single human dreadnought carries more firepower than our entire Third Fleet." "Impossible," Kethver whispered, but deep down he knew the readings were correct. The humans had somehow hidden an entire battle fleet right under the galaxy's nose. Back in human space, the Ghost Fleet was preparing for its first combat mission in 3 decades. Captain Yuntaho, of the Dark Vengeance, was running final checks on his ship's experimental weapon systems. He had spent years developing new plasma cannon designs in his basement workshop, never imagining he would need them again. "Sir, we're receiving formation orders from the flagship," reported his tactical officer. Yuntaho smiled coldly, signaled the fleet. "Tell them the Dark Vengeance is ready to hunt." On the bridge of the Iron Wolf, Commander Park Hyun was coordinating the largest human military operation in 30 years. His enhanced engines, a pet project he had worked on during his retirement, were performing better than expected. "All ships report ready for hyperspace jump," Lieutenant Kim Soy-young announced. "Destination, New Terra system. Estimated travel time, 16 hours. Park Hyun looked out at the assembled fleet. 47 ships, each one crewed by veterans who had answered the call without hesitation. These men and women had families, peaceful lives they were leaving behind. But when their people needed them, they had come. "Signal all ships," Park Hyun commanded. "Formation Delta 7. We jump in 30 seconds. As the countdown began, alien sensors across the galaxy registered something unprecedented. The peaceful human traders, the species that had spent decades avoiding conflict, were mobilizing for war. And their military capabilities were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. 10 seconds to jump, Kim So-young announced. Park Hyun gripped the arms of his command chair. "All ships, engage hyperspace drives. It's time to remind the galaxy who we really are." The Ghost Fleet vanished into hyperspace, leaving only empty space where humanity's greatest secret had been hidden for 30 years. But across the galaxy, alien governments were already calling emergency sessions. The humans were coming, and nothing would ever be the same. Captain Han Wu pressed his face against the small periscope window, watching the Vex ships hover above New Terra like mechanical demons. Their hulls were covered in trophies from countless raids, human skulls welded to their armor plating. Fragments of destroyed colonies forming grotesque decorations. Each ship was the size of a city block, bristling with weapons that could level mountains. "Sir," whispered Dr. Kim Nara from beside him. "They're launching more landing craft. Looks like they're heading for the school district." Han Wu's blood ran cold. 300 children were hiding in the school's basement shelter, along with their teachers. The Vex preferred to capture the young ones alive. They fetched higher prices in the slave markets of the Outer Rim. The alien commander's voice echoed through every speaker on the planet, his words dripping with cruel satisfaction. human insects. Your time grows short. We have been patient, but our patience ends. In 1 hour, we will begin the harvest. Your strongest will serve in our labor camps. Your children will be sold to the highest bidder. Your weak will feed our war beasts. Wu closed his eyes, trying to block out the sound of children crying in the distance. He had sent the distress signal to Earth, but help was weeks away. Even if a rescue fleet was already on its way, it would arrive to find nothing but empty ruins. Captain called out technician Li Jiangsu urgently. I'm picking up massive energy readings from the edge of the system. Something big is coming. The Vex commander must have detected it too, because his ship suddenly shifted formation. Their weapon systems powered up, ready to face whatever was approaching their hunting ground. Then space itself seemed to tear open. 47 points of brilliant light erupted around New Terra as the human ghost fleet dropped out of hyperspace. The ships materialized in perfect attack formation, their hulls scarred from ancient battles, but their weapons gleaming with deadly intent. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, not built for trade or exploration, but for one purpose: total annihilation of humanity's enemies. The Iron Wolf took the lead position, its massive form dwarfing even the largest Vex raider. Commander Park Hyun stood on his bridge, studying the enemy formation with the cold calculation of a born predator. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Kim Soyoung, "all ships are in position, their weapons charged and locked on target." Park Hyun opened a communication channel that broadcast on every frequency known to galactic civilization. His voice was calm, professional, and absolutely terrifying in its certainty. "Vex vessels, this is Commander Park Hyun of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are trespassing in human space and threatening human lives. You have 30 seconds to surrender and withdraw. This is your only warning." The Vex commander's response came immediately, filled with the arrogance of a predator who had never faced real opposition. "Humans, your reputation for weakness precedes you across the galaxy. Count 12 of our finest warships against your pathetic collection of rust buckets." "Do you seriously think 10 seconds?" Park Hyun interrupted, his voice cutting through the aliens, boasting like a blade through silk. The Vex commander's laughter sounded like metal being crushed. "You dare threaten the Vex Dominion? We have conquered 100 worlds. We have time's up," Park Hyun said simply. "All ships, open fire." The Iron Wolf's main cannon charged with a sound like thunder rolling through the void. The weapon had been designed during humanity's darkest hour, when Earth itself was under siege. It could punch through the armor of any known warship. Park Hyun had spent 30 years making it even deadlier. The plasma beam that erupted from the Iron Wolf's forward gun was beautiful and terrible, a lance of pure energy that crossed the space between ships in microseconds. The nearest Vex raider, a vessel that had terrorized dozens of colonies, simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, the next it was expanding clouds of superheated gas and twisted metal. But the Iron Wolf wasn't alone. 46 other human warships opened fire simultaneously, filling space with streams of plasma, particle beams, and kinetic projectiles that moved at significant fractions of light speed. The Crimson Blade's upgraded weapons tore through 3 Vex ships in rapid succession. The Thunderstrike launched a spread of smart missiles that hunted down their targets with relentless precision. Captain Lee DeHaen watched from her bridge as the Shadow Dancer's experimental stealth cannons materialized from nowhere, striking the Vex flagship before its shields could even activate. The alien vessel, covered in the skulls of its victims, cracked open like an egg and spilled its crew into the vacuum. "Ma'am," Sergeant Choi Minho reported with satisfaction, "enemy formation is completely destroyed. No survivors detected." The battle had lasted exactly 4 minutes and 17 seconds. When the weapons fire stopped, space around New Terra was filled with nothing but debris and fading energy signatures. 12 Vex warships, vessels that had brought terror to countless worlds, had been erased from existence with surgical precision. Down on the planet's surface, Captain Han Wu stared through his periscope in stunned disbelief. The alien ships that had seemed so invincible just moments before we're gone, replaced by floating wreckage that glittered in New Terra's sunlight. "Sir," Dr. Kim Nara whispered, "are we... Are we safe?" Before Hanwoo could answer, a warm female voice filled the bunker's communication system. "New Terra Colony. This is Captain Lee Daehan of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are safe. Repeat. You are safe. All hostile forces have been eliminated." Tears ran down Hanwoo's face as he grabbed the radio. "Earth Defense Fleet, this is New Terra. Kalani, thank you so much. We thought we were going to die." "Not on our watch," Lee Daehan replied firmly. "We're sending down medical teams and supplies. Your ordeal is over." Across the galaxy, automated sensors recorded the brief but devastating battle. In a matter of minutes, the mysterious human fleet had accomplished what the Galactic Council had claimed was impossible. They had completely destroyed a Vex raiding force without taking a single casualty. On his flagship, Commander Park Hee-in was already studying intelligence data recovered from the Vex wreckage. His expression grew darker as he read the files. "Sir?" Lieutenant Kim So-young asked. "Signal the fleet," Park Hee-in ordered, his voice filled with cold determination. "We're not going home yet. According to this data, the Vex have hit 17 other human colonies in the past 6 months." He looked up from the display, his eyes burning with righteous fury. It's time for some payback. Commander Park Hee-in stood over the holographic display table, his face illuminated by the blue glow of recovered Vex data. What he saw made his jaw clench with barely controlled rage. The aliens hadn't just attacked New Terra. They had been systematically hunting human colonies for months, like wolves picking off sheep from a flock. "Show me everything," he ordered his intelligence officer, Lieutenant Yoon Minji. The hologram expanded, revealing a network of Vex operations that stretched across 3 star systems. Red markers indicated human colonies that had been raided. Yellow ones showed planets currently under attack. And a massive fortress symbol marked their main base in the Kepler 442 system. "Sir, according to these files, the Vex have captured over 30,000 human civilians," Yoon Minji reported, her voice tight with controlled anger. "They're being held at processing stations before being sold to various alien slave markets." Park Hee-in's fist slammed down on the table. 30,000 of our people," he growled. "And the Galactic Council calls this an internal dispute, not worth their attention." Lieutenant Kim So-young looked up from her tactical station. "Sir, we're detecting distress signals from the Kepler 186c mining colony. It's happening right now. Vex ships are in orbit, and they're loading prisoners onto transport vessels." "How far?" Park Hee-in demanded. 6 hours at maximum speed," came the reply. "Then we'd better hurry." Park Hee-in activated the fleet communication system. "All ships. This is the Iron Wolf. We have humans in immediate danger at Kepler 186c. New course, maximum burn. Time to show these aliens what happens when they hunt our people." The Ghost Fleet changed direction, like a pack of predators catching a fresh scent. Their fusion drives burned brighter than small suns as they raced across space, each captain pushing their engines beyond safety limits. This wasn't just a rescue mission. It was personal. 6 hours later, the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 186c system. What they found made every crew member's blood boil with rage. 5 Vex ships hung in orbit around the mining colony, their cargo bays glowing with the lights of human prisoners being loaded like cattle. Captain Lee Daehan studied the tactical display from her position on the Crimson Blade. "Those transports are full of our people," she said grimly. "We need to disable them without destroying the cargo holds." "Leave that to us," came the voice of Captain Nam Jawan from the stealth ship Shadow Dancer. "My ship can get close enough to plant boarding charges on their engines." Park Hee-in's voice cut across the fleet channel. "Negative. Too risky. We go in fast and hard. Surgical strikes only. Disable their weapons and engines, then board them before they can hurt the prisoners." Attack began without warning. The Iron Wolf and its sister ships materialized around the Vex fleet like ghosts, becoming solid. But this time, their weapons were set to disable rather than destroy. Precision plasma bursts took out engine cores and weapon systems while leaving the ship's hulls intact, The Vex commander aboard the lead transport tried to threaten the human prisoners, but he never got the chance. Captain Lee Dahine's Marines were already burning through his airlock with cutting torches, their power armor gleaming in the ship's emergency lighting. "Go, go, go," shouted Sergeant Choi Minho as he led the boarding party into the alien vessel. The Vex warriors tried to fight back, but human military training and superior technology made the outcome inevitable. Their natural six-armed advantage meant nothing against Marines, wearing powered exoskeletons and carrying plasma rifles. Within minutes, the transport ship was secured. Lee Dahine moved through the cargo holds, her heart breaking at what she found hundreds of human civilians, men, women, and children crammed into metal cages like animals. Many were injured. All were terrified. "It's okay," she told a young girl who cowered against the bars. "We're here to take you home." The little girl looked up with tear-filled eyes. "Are you really human?" The monster said no one was coming for us. "We're human," Lee Dahine confirmed, her voice gentle, despite the fury burning in her chest. "And we always come for our people." The rescue operation was repeated across all 5 Vex ships. 800 human prisoners were freed, though many needed immediate medical attention. As the rescued colonists were transferred to human medical ships, Park Hyun was already planning his next move. Sir Lieutenant Kim Sol-young reported the Vex are trying to send emergency signals to their other fleets. "Jam everything," Park Hyun ordered coldly. "I want their commanders to wonder what happened here. Let them imagine their worst nightmares, because we're going to make those nightmares real." The human fleet moved like a storm across the Vex territory. At each raided colony, they found the same pattern: alien ships loading human captives, while their warriors stripped the settlements of anything valuable. And at each location, the outcome was the same: complete destruction of the Vex forces and rescue of every human prisoner. Captain Shin Dong-wook of the Night Hunter specialized in stealth operations. His ship would appear behind Vex raiders, like a specter from their darkest myths, disabling their ships before they even knew they were under attack. Another transport secured. He reported after liberating a convoy carrying captured families from the agricultural world of Harvest. "Moon. No casualties among our people." The rescued humans told horrifying stories. The Vex had swept through their colonies like a plague, taking anyone strong enough to work in their mines or young enough to train as slaves. Those who resisted were killed as examples to the others, but now the hunters had become the hunted. Across 3 star systems, Vex commanders received the same terrifying reports. Their raiding fleets were disappearing without a trace. Ships that should have been bringing in fresh slaves and resources simply vanished, their final transmissions cut short by weapons fire and screaming metal. Admiral Vexstar, the overall commander of the raiding operation, studied the reports from his fortress in the Kepler 442 system. His 6 arms clicked nervously against his command throne as he tried to understand what was happening. "Have no military," he hissed to his subordinates. "Our intelligence was certain. They are traders and farmers, nothing more." Perhaps, suggested one of his captains, "another species is interfering. The Altarians have been vocal about slavery. ... The Altarians are cowards," Vexstar snarled. "They protest but never act. No, this is something else, something we haven't encountered before." He was right to be worried. The human ghost fleet was methodically hunting down every Vex operation in the sector. Following intelligence gathered from captured ships, each victory brought them closer to their ultimate target, the fortress station where the Vex stored their most valuable prisoners and planned their raids. Park Hyun stood on his bridge, watching the tactical display as his fleet prepared for their final assault. 30,000 human lives depended on what happened next, and he had no intention of letting them down. "Signal all ships," he commanded. "Target the fortress. It's time to end this." The Vex fortress station Skarmath hung in space like a mechanical nightmare, its dark hole stretching for dozens of kilometers in every direction. Weapon batteries covered its surface like deadly boils, each one capable of destroying a city. At its core burned a captive star, its energy channeled through massive conduits to power shields that had never been breached in 3 centuries of existence. "Commander?" Park Hyun studied the fortress through the Iron Wolf's main viewer, his expression as cold as the void between stars. Intelligence reports indicated that over 15,000 human prisoners were being held inside that metallic hell, awaiting transport to slave markets across the galaxy. "Sir," Lieutenant Kim So-young reported from her tactical station, Long Range. "Scans confirm the fortress is at full battle readiness." "They know we're coming." Park Hyun nodded grimly. Word of the human fleet's rampage through Vex territory had reached the fortress commander. Admiral Vexstar, the butcher who had ordered the raids on human colonies, was preparing for the fight of his life. "How many ships does he have?" Park Han asked. 63 Vex warships in defensive formation around the station, came the reply. "Plus the fortress itself mounts over 400 heavy weapons. The odds should have been impossible. 47 human ships against a force twice their size, defending a fortress that had never fallen." Park Hyun had something the Vex didn't understand. He had righteous fury, 30 years of modifications to ships that had already been the deadliest in known space. "Signal the fleet," Park Hyun commanded. "Attack formation Omega. Today we teach the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity." The human ghost fleet moved into attack position with mechanical precision. Each captain knew their role, had trained for this moment during the darkest days of the Terran War. Captain Lee Dahayan positioned the Crimson Blade to lead the assault on the fortress's primary weapon clusters. Captain Nam Jae-won's Shadow Dancer would use its stealth systems to strike at the shield generators. Captain Yoon Tae-ho's Dark Vengeance would punch through the defensive fleet with its experimental plasma cannons. "All ships report ready." Lieutenant Kim So-young announced. Park Hyun opened a channel to address his entire fleet. "Brothers and sisters, inside that fortress are 15,000 of our people. Children torn from their families, parents sold into slavery. They are counting on us to bring them home." His voice hardened to steel. "Today, we show the galaxy that humanity doesn't just protect its own. We take vengeance on those who harm us. Attack." Park Hyun roared. The Iron Wolf led the charge, its enhanced engines pushing it to speeds that made space itself scream. Behind it, 46 other warships followed in perfect formation, their weapons charging with the fury of a species that had been pushed too far. The Vex fleet opened fire first, filling space with streams of plasma and kinetic projectiles. But human ships were smaller, faster, and infinitely more maneuverable. They wove through the enemy formation like dancers, their return fire precise and devastating. Captain Lee Dae-haeon watched from the Crimson Blades bridge as her enhanced weapon systems tore through 3 Vex cruisers in rapid succession. "Target their shield generators," she commanded. "We need to get to those prisoners." The battle raged for 6 brutal hours. Human ships used tactics that the Vex had never encountered, coordinated strikes that overwhelmed enemy shields, electronic warfare that turned the aliens' own weapons against them, and boarding actions that proved human marines were far deadlier than any Vex warrior. Captain Shin Dong-wook's Night Hunter appeared inside the enemy formation like a ghost, its stealth systems allowing it to strike at the fortress's primary shield generator before the Vex even knew it was there. The massive installation exploded in a ball of plasma that lit up the entire system. "Shields down on the fortress," Kim So-young reported with fierce satisfaction. "All sections showing damage." Park Hyun smiled coldly as the Iron Wolf's main guns locked onto the fortress's command section. Through the view screen, he could see the panic spreading through the Vex fleet as their impregnable fortress began to crack under human firepower. Admiral Duck Star's scarred face appeared on the communication screen, his 6 arms trembling with fear. This creature had ordered the deaths of thousands of humans, had built his reputation on cruelty and terror. Now he cowered before human justice. We surrender." The alien commander gasped. "Please, we offer tribute, territory, whatever you demand. The prisoners are yours?" Park Hyn's expression didn't change. "There will be no tribute," he said quietly. "There will be no negotiations. You attacked our colonies. You enslaved our children. You thought we were weak because we chose peace." His voice grew deadly. "You were wrong. Please," Vexstar begged. "We didn't know. We thought humans were just traitors. We'll never attack you again." You're right, Parkan replied. You never will. The Iron Wolf's main cannon charged with a sound like the universe itself groaning. The weapon that had been designed to crack enemy battle stations now aimed at the heart of the Vex fortress, where Admiral Vexstar sat in his command throne. This is for every human child you sold into slavery, Parkaon said coldly. Fire. The plasma beam that erupted from the Iron Wolf was brighter than the captive star at the fortress's core. It punched through armor that was supposed to be impenetrable, through shields that had protected the station for centuries. Through the command section, where Vexstar sat frozen in terror, when the light faded, the fortress Scarmouth was breaking. Apart, its massive hull splitting like a rotten fruit. Emergency pods launched from every section as Vex survivors fled their dying station. But the human fleet was already moving to secure the prison sections where their people were held. Across the galaxy, alien monitoring stations recorded the impossible. The Vex Dominion, a power that had terrorized the Outer Rim for generations, had been completely destroyed by the species everyone thought were peaceful traders. Captain Lee Daehain opened a communication channel that broadcast on every known frequency, her voice carrying to the farthest corners of civilized space. This is Captain Lee Daehain of the Earth Defense Fleet, she announced, her words reaching alien governments, military commanders, and criminal organizations throughout the galaxy. For too long, raiders and slavers have preyed upon human colonies, while the Galactic Council stood by and did nothing. That ends today. Her voice hardened. Humanity protects its own. We have shown mercy to those who deserve none, sought peace when we could have chosen war. But attack our people, enslave our children, threaten our families, and you will face the full might of the human war machine. She paused, letting her words sink in. This is the only warning you will receive. Remember it well. It's the human fleet began its journey home, carrying 15,000 rescued prisoners back to safety. Emergency sessions were being called in government halls across the galaxy. Altarian Federation immediately ordered all military units to avoid human space. The Zentari Empire began drafting new trade agreements that heavily favored human colonies. Even the mighty Galactic Council, which had dismissed humanity as insignificant, called for urgent revisions to their protocols. Every new law, every new treaty, every new military doctrine began with the same phrase, in recognition of humanity's military capabilities and demonstrated willingness to use them, ... The age of alien raiders attacking human colonies was over. The age of humanity being dismissed as weak was finished. The galaxy had learned a simple lesson. Humans might choose peace, but they were very, very good at war. And in the depths of space, 47 ghost ships returned to their hidden bases, ready to sleep again until their people needed them. Now the entire galaxy knew they existed, knew they were watching, knew they would come if humanity was threatened. The peaceful traders had shown their true face, and the galaxy would never forget. The end.